Luka maneuvers away from the closeout. And that is again late in the clock in desperation. Creeping down towards a minute to play in the first quarter. Luka with a step back from the...
Luka Dončić, a name that's setting the NBA on fire, becoming the youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's hard to believe that a basketball superstar is so addicted to beer that he gets his can snatched away on live TV, loves shisha with thick clouds of smoke surrounding him, gained 22 pounds after just one summer of unrestrained eating, and indulges in luxurious trips to Mykonos on a $1 million yacht. No one expected Luka to live like this. From a skinny kid in Slovenia, he rose to become a $100 million superstar, incredibly wealthy, then let himself get caught up in passions that shocked the basketball world. But that's not all. Luka has even more surprising secrets. Right now, get ready to discover 10 things you've never known about Luka Dončić in this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to not miss the next top stories about the NBA's elite stars. Basketball club rejects him for being too skinny. On February 28, 1999, Luka Dončić was born in a small hospital in Ljubljana, Slovenia. The tiny, frail boy nestled in his mother's arms. No one thought that those hands would later shake the world's biggest basketball arenas. Luka's childhood wasn't just about perfect jump shots, but also silent tears and the pain of a boy who was once turned away by the world. At the age of 7, Luka hugged a basketball like a close friend. On the schoolyard in Ljubljana, the skinny, tousled blond boy awkwardly chased the ball amidst the teasing laughter of his friends. "What can a little kid like you do?" Luka didn't answer, just silently shot the ball, his eyes lighting up every time it touched the net. His father, Sasha Dončić, saw that desire. "You don't need to be big, just have a strong heart," he whispered, placing his hand on the shoulder of the boy shivering from the cold winter afternoon. But Luka's dream wasn't easy. In 2011, at the age of 12, he and his family tried out at Hajduk Split, a renowned basketball club in Croatia. Luka stood there, his small hands clutching the ball, his heart pounding with hope. Then the coach's cold gaze extinguished everything. "This kid is too small, too weak. Go home." Luka bowed his head, walked off the court, tears streaming down his thin cheeks. That night, he curled up in the corner of his room, hugging the ball, wondering if he really belonged in this world. But instead of giving up, Luka wiped his tears, stood up, and went out to practice under the dim moonlight. At 13, Luka left his mother's arms to go to Spain, joining Real Madrid's youth academy. Away from home, he had to face loneliness, the evenings of homesickness that choked him up. But every time he held the ball, Luka found strength. In 2013, he led Real Madrid's U16 team to second place at the Mini Copa Endesa, his eyes sparkling when he received the MVP award, as if to tell the world, "I'm not small." On April 30th, 2015, Luka, just 16 years old, stepped onto the professional court in Real Madrid's jersey. That night, he scored his first points, becoming the youngest player in the club's history. The crowd cheered, but few knew that behind the radiant smile were years of being doubted, rejected, and nights when he told himself, "I have to make it." From the boy who broke his neighbor's window with an errant shot, who cried silently when he was criticized, Luka now stood firmly on his own feet. At 18, Luka led Slovenia to victory at Eurobasket, tears falling again as he raised the trophy. In 2018, he won the EuroLeague with Real Madrid, then entered the NBA with the Dallas Mavericks. From the tears at 12 in Croatia, Luka turned pain into motivation, proving that a small boy can achieve greatness. 2 years later, Luka entered a game that could change his entire NBA career. A night in the playoffs, where every three-pointer was a response to those who had doubted him. 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists, but the most memorable moment wasn't in the numbers. It came when Luka almost lost it all, just for a moment of losing control. Youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double. On August 23, 2020, under the bright lights of the NBA playoffs, 21-year-old Luka Dončić stepped onto the court to face the Los Angeles Clippers. What followed etched his name into history. 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists, the first 40-point triple-double by the youngest player in this fierce competition. But behind that dazzling glory was a Luka on the verge of collapse, a heart burning and fragile to the point of suffocation. That game wasn't just about cold numbers. Luka stormed through the defense like a whirlwind, his legs weary but unyielding. Sweat poured down. He fell and rose again, each three-pointer a silent roar from the depths of his soul. The 17 rebounds were his leaps amidst a forest of towering opponents, defying his exhausted body, defying the pain. The 13 assists were his way of pouring his heart into every pass, playing not just for himself, but for the entire team. This wasn't a normal game. It was a moment where Luka gave everything on the court, where every step was an affirmation of his worth. But then, everything almost vanished in a flash. An official's call made him explode, eyes red, hands waving in anger, his voice cracking with frustration. Luka nearly got ejected, just one step away from leaving the court in bitterness. The pressure weighed heavily on his shoulders. The fear of failure screamed in his heart. He wasn't just facing the Clippers, but also the dark corners of himself. Behind that determined face was a young man, more fragile than anyone imagined, ready to erupt to protect his dream. Yet, Luka didn't collapse. He stood up, took the final shot, bringing victory to the Dallas Mavericks. That historic triple-double wasn't just a record, it was a testament to a heart both strong and vulnerable, a young man who poured his entire life into every drop of sweat on the court. Luka Dončić on August 23, 2020, wasn't just a superstar, he was the image of resilience behind unseen wounds. And to understand why Luka could explode in that historic game, we must rewind the clock back to the moment the Atlanta Hawks made one of the biggest mistakes in NBA history. A decision on draft night 2018 completely changed Luka's fate, and also the cruel destiny that forever haunted the Hawks. Atlanta Hawks' century-old blunder, NBA Draft 2018, a fateful night forever etched in the Atlanta Hawks' minds, not for joy, but for endless regret. With the third pick, they brought Luka Dončić to the stage, a 19-year-old talent who had just shaken Europe with his genius moves. But then, in a decision that stunned the basketball world, the Hawks traded Luka to the Dallas Mavericks for Trae Young on the same night. With just a brief handshake, they inadvertently let slip the decade's rarest gem, leaving an unhealable wound in the hearts of fans and the team's management. Luka didn't need much time to make the Hawks realize their mistake. In his first season with the Mavericks, he averaged 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, numbers far exceeding expectations for a rookie. The Rookie of the Year award fell into his hands like a slap in the face to Atlanta, a painful reminder of what they had missed. But that was just the beginning of Luka's brilliant journey. From 2020 to 2025, he consistently burned up the charts with 5 consecutive All-NBA first-team selections, the prestigious award for the league's 5 best players each year. Year after year, without a single absence, Luka affirmed himself as an insurmountable mountain, while Trae Young, though talented and hardworking, only reached All-NBA once in 2022, a distant gap from the heights Luka had reached. Luka's achievements weren't just dry numbers, he turned them into incredible stories. Triple-doubles became routine, clutch shots in the playoffs silenced opponents, and performances made people rub their eyes in disbelief. 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists in a 2020 game, a feat few dared to dream of. Meanwhile, the Hawks could only stand from afar, gritting their teeth at Luka's every achievement, filled with regret as Trey, though brilliant in his own way, never reached the towering heights Luka conquered. Hawks fans still silently shake their heads, imagining a different scenario. Luka, in their red jersey, leading the team to unprecedented heights instead of shining in the Mavericks' white. This trade wasn't just a simple blunder. It's a stain forever etched in the Hawks' history. Luka Dončić is now a $100 million superstar, a record-breaking machine with an ever-brighter aura. Meanwhile, Atlanta is left with only a faint memory of the night they let him go. A third pick for Trae Young once seemed reasonable, but now it's like trading a sparkling diamond for an ordinary gemstone. Luka proved his worth with every step, every shot, and the Hawks could only watch, carrying an indelible remorse every time he stepped onto the court. But that wasn't the only time Luka made the basketball world talk. If the 2018 draft trade was the Atlanta Hawks' biggest regret, then the summer of 2021 was the moment Luka faced his own toughest challenge. No longer statistics or titles this time, his biggest opponent was none other than his own weight. Too fat to play high-level basketball. In the summer of 2021, after leading Slovenia to the Tokyo Olympics with a performance that amazed the world, Luka Dončić entered an unexpected season, not because of his innate talent, but because of his own body. Luka candidly admitted a truth few dared to speak. He had gained nearly 22 pounds in just a few short months, the result of unrestrained eating and drinking after months of dedicated effort. An NBA superstar who had just made history on the international stage now appeared with a rounded figure far from the agile, powerful image familiar to fans. Photos of him on summer vacation quickly spread across social media, from accidental snapshots to comments filled with everything from laughter to mockery, all leaving people stunned by the change. This wasn't just sideline chatter. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban revealed a surprising detail. Luka hated being called fat more than anything in the world. Every word, every photo spread like a knife, stirring up insecurity in the young man's heart. But Luka wasn't one to sit still and let others define him. He turned harsh criticism into burning motivation, entering the gym with unwavering determination. The 22 pounds that seemed like a burden became a declaration of war to the world, that no one could drag him down, not even himself. The 2021 to 2022 season began, and Luka returned like an unstoppable whirlwind. He lost weight incredibly quickly, his body more toned than ever, his speed on the court as explosive as if it had never been hindered by those heavy days. From an average of 27 points per game last season, he pushed the number to 28.4 points, along with 9.1 rebounds and 8.7 assists. A crazy, proud performance, as if to scream in the faces of those who had laughed at him. Mark Cuban couldn't hide his amazement at the transformation. The kid who was mocked now used the criticism to break all limits, turning himself into a more formidable version than ever. With every shot, every play, Luka seemed to prove that he didn't just return, he had surpassed his former self. It was the moment that seemed the weakest that created a new Luka, not just talented, but also incredibly resilient. The excess 22 pounds weren't a burden, but a springboard for him to soar, from the careless meals after the Olympics to the brilliant NBA courts. Luka Dončić stunned the world with that incredible comeback. The mocking words that once echoed now fell silent because he had turned them into his own crown, a symbol of willpower, strength, and a superstar who never gives up. Luka Dončić doesn't just dazzle on the basketball court. Get ready to be amazed at how quickly this 26-year-old earns money and how vast his fortune is. Behind the three-pointers and incredible passes is a financial empire that even the wealthiest would envy. NBA's youngest millionaire. Let's start with his NBA contract, a milestone not just of money but also of Luka Dončic's enduring dream. In 2021, he signed a 5-year, $215 million contract with the Dallas Mavericks, a huge number reflecting the talent that far exceeded his age. Each season, he earns over $43 million, equivalent to nearly $524,000 for every game he plays. It's a worthy reward for a boy who was once rejected for being too small, now turning sweat into numbers that others only dream of. When he moved to the Los Angeles Lakers in 2025, Luka entered the NBA's biggest market, where the spotlight not only shines on the court, but also opens the door for his fortune to skyrocket. Experts predict his next contract in 2026 could reach $296 million for 4 years, nearly $74 million per year from basketball salaries alone, a number reflecting the value of his talent and relentless dedication. But Luka doesn't stop at the basketball court. He's also a money-making machine from endorsements, where every major brand seems to be drawn to his radiance. His contract with Jordan Brand brings in tens of millions of dollars each year, and the Luka One shoe line launched in 2022 has become an icon, not just on the court, but also in the hearts of fans. BioSteel, Panini, NBA 2K. These big names constantly contribute to his income. Forbes estimates he earns $15 million per year from these brands, and that's before he set foot in LA. Now, in the city of dreams, Hollywood and lucrative contracts are welcoming him, promising to elevate his value to new heights. Luka's assets also tell their own stories. He owns a $2.7 million mansion in Dallas with a sparkling pool, private basketball court, and luxurious space straight out of a movie. Upon joining the Lakers, he bought a $15 million home in Texas, a retreat between stressful days. A mansion in LA could be the next step, something no one would be surprised about given his stature. Regarding cars, Luka owns a Lamborghini, Porsche, and a custom 6-wheeled Hellfire Apocalypse truck, a bizarre machine straight out of an action movie reflecting his strong personality and willingness to take on challenges. Luka Dončić is not just good at playing basketball, he's building a financial empire right before everyone's eyes, step by step affirming himself from the days of doubt in Europe to the bright lights of the NBA. From the basketball court to the richest lists, this young man turns every difficulty into gold, writing a story of a superstar who overcomes all obstacles with talent, will, and a heart that never gives up. Beyond his immense wealth, Dončić also stunned the basketball world with an unexpected habit, an addiction to beer and shisha that became a nightmare for the Dallas Mavericks. This 26-year-old, who just left the Mavericks to join the Lakers, lives a surprisingly ordinary life, making people rub their eyes in disbelief. This isn't just a rumor. It's the story of a superstar who turned beer and smoke into an indelible mark: shisha and beer addiction. In the summer of 2024, after leading the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, Luka was caught holding a can of beer while celebrating with his father. Vice President Michael Finley immediately snatched it away in front of millions of viewers, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. Sources from The Athletic revealed that Luka didn't stop at beer. He also loved shisha, the thick nicotine smoke he frequently used during his days off. From Sen's restaurant in San Francisco in 2022 to photos circulating online, Luka appeared with a cold beer in hand, surrounded by shisha smoke as an inseparable part of his life. The Mavericks couldn't take it anymore. General manager Nico Harrison, obsessed with nutrition, saw Luka's habits as the end of his career. They called him lazy, worried that beer and shisha would drag him down. This led to a shocking trade in February 2025, pushing Luka to the Lakers for a bargain price compared to his talent. The Mavericks gave up their face of the NBA just because he wouldn't give up his beer can and shisha pipe, while Luka casually recorded triple-doubles as if laughing in the face of those who doubted him. Luka didn't hide anything. After a 2022 win with 60 points and 20 rebounds, he smiled and called beer his recovery medicine. Another time, he was caught on camera with beer, water, and a burger, the demeanor of a superstar living his life to the fullest. Now, with the Lakers, he maintains his form. 19 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists per game, despite all the whispers about his weight and lifestyle. A beer and shisha addict who makes the whole league bow down, Luka is doing it right before everyone's eyes. From cold beer cans to thick shisha smoke, Luka isn't just playing basketball, he's rewriting the definition of an NBA superstar, making the Mavericks regret letting him shine so brightly in LA. Beyond beer and shisha, Dončić also has a penchant for luxurious travel, especially to the Greek island of Mykonos. This 26-year-old turns every vacation into a high-end adventure, and Mykonos, the island of wind and luxury, is his favorite destination, making everyone rub their eyes in disbelief. This isn't just a regular trip. It's the journey of a superstar living like royalty in the Aegean Sea. Love of travel on the world's most luxurious island. In the summer of 2024, after leading the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, Luka appeared in Mykonos, a place he had visited many times before. The island, famous for its golden beaches, white villas, and nightlife that never ends, is the perfect playground for Luka. He doesn't choose ordinary hotels. Luka stays in the most luxurious villas, like those offered by Santa Marina Resort, with private beaches, infinity pools, and breathtaking sea views. Photos circulating online show Luka relaxing on a luxury yacht, surrounded by friends and expensive champagne, as if he were living in a Hollywood movie. Mykonos isn't just a resort, it's a symbol of the luxury Luka immerses himself in. He's been spotted at famous beach clubs like Namos, where a sun lounger can cost hundreds of dollars a day, and parties that last until dawn with top DJs. Sources from Greek City Times reveal that Luka frequently returns here, from 2020 with his girlfriend to 2021 after signing a $215 million contract with the Mavericks, and even in 2024 after the Tokyo Olympics. Each time he upgrades his experience, bigger yachts, more expensive villas, and meals at restaurants like Remezzo, where the menu is filled with fresh seafood and fine wines. Luka has turned Mykonos into his second home. He meets friends like Jaka Blažić, takes photos with former Real Madrid teammate Giannis Bourousis, and enjoys a lifestyle that even big stars envy. After joining the Lakers in 2025, Luka continues this style. His luxurious trips are now even more spectacular with the vast LA market. From yachts cruising the Aegean to endless nights of partying, Luka Dončić doesn't just play basketball well, he lives like a king in Mykonos, astonishing people with how he turns every vacation into a statement of wealth and class. Luka Dončić doesn't just amaze people with his three-pointers or magical passes, he also has a burning fire inside him, so hot that the entire NBA has to take notice. Did you know that Luka holds the record for technical fouls with more than 15 in just one season? A top-tier superstar, but also a bomb ready to explode on the court. Nearly paid the price for a hot temper. In the 2022-23 season, Luka stormed through the defense like a hurricane, sweat pouring down his face, then suddenly stopped, roaring at the referee for a called foul. His eyes were bloodshot, his hands waving as if to tear the air apart, his harsh words echoing so loudly that the audience in the stands held their breath. It wasn't just a moment of controversy. It was Luka, a young man who wasn't afraid to let the world see the fire within him. The outcome was precarious. He nearly got ejected, just a cold wave of the referee's hand away from turning the game into a disaster. Over 15 technical fouls in a season, a number that made people gasp, not just because it was high, but because each foul cost him tens of thousands of dollars from his own pocket. But Luka didn't care about those numbers. For him, it was the price to pay to stay true to himself. Luka's fiery temper isn't a flaw in his career, it's the wind that makes his flame burn brighter. Every time he's unfairly called, he doesn't choose to be silent or bow his head like others. Instead, he explodes, facing the referee head-on, as if to shout that he'll never accept defeat without a fight. From heated verbal exchanges to near ejections, Luka turns anger into valuable fuel. After each foul, he often returns with clutch shots that decide games or insane performances that make opponents tremble. No one can extinguish the fire within him. It burns on from court to court, from failure to victory. In the 2022-23 season, Luka ranked second in the NBA for technical fouls, behind only a few other notorious hotheads. But for him, those numbers aren't just dry statistics. They're the marks of a person who lives passionately. Over 15 fouls, countless moments of nearly leaving the court in regret, and Luka still stood there, as unyielding as an unshakable mountain. That fiery temper isn't just a side story for people to talk about. It's his essence, how he plays basketball, how he faces pressure and overcomes adversity. In every play, every roar, Luka shows that he's not just a good player. He's a superstar ready to burn down every barrier to win, to affirm that the fire within him will never die out. And here's Luka Dončić's biggest paradox, a predatory attacker, yet he neglects defense as if it were someone else's job. He can set the NBA on fire with his talent, but his defensive lapses could be the biggest obstacle preventing him from reaching the absolute peak. A superstar who doesn't know how to defend Luka Dončić, an offensive machine that the entire NBA bows to, has an unbelievable secret. He defends like he's taking a stroll. Despite dribbling like a wizard, shooting threes like a machine, and recording countless triple-doubles, Luka makes experts frown with his nonchalant attitude when opponents have the ball. Can you imagine a top superstar playing defense with a "we'll see" attitude? Yet, that's exactly what Luka does. Imagine this scene. Playoffs as tense as a wire, opponents charging towards the basket, and Luka standing there taking slow steps, half-heartedly waving his arms as if just wanting to get it over with. Basketball experts can't sit still. They point out that Luka rarely runs at full speed to stop opponents, leaving deadly gaps that other teams ruthlessly exploit. Some call him the defensive hole of the Dallas Mavericks, especially in crucial games. Are you shocked to know that someone who scores 40 points as easily as breakfast lets his team concede goals just because he won't run? But what's even crazier is that Luka doesn't seem to care. He focuses all his energy on offense, impossible long-range shots, passes that make teammates gasp, and leaves defense to others. Statistics show that in the playoffs, Luka's team is frequently outscored in the area he defends, with a significantly higher scoring rate than the NBA average. Some experts even say bluntly, if Luka bothered to run, the Mavericks might have won a championship. Yet, Luka remains Luka. His lazy defensive style isn't just a weakness. It's a statement. He doesn't need to run wildly to prove his worth, because just by holding the ball, he makes the whole league bow down. Is there any superstar who is both criticized and admired so much? Luka Dončić is just that, an offensive genius with a defensive style so lazy that you wonder, does he do it all with only half the effort? Despite his defensive laziness, Dončić's willingness to burn himself out on the court is undeniable, despite the daily pain that torments him. He may slack off when opponents have the ball, but when he has control, he doesn't allow anything to stop him. No one can force Luka to run more on defense, but nothing can stop him from entering the battle, even when his body is ravaged by injuries. Hiding injuries to keep playing. In 2019, at just 20 years old, Luka first felt a sharp pain in his ankle during a game against the Miami Heat. He fell, clutching his leg, but then stood up and continued to score 27 points as if nothing had happened. From then on, his ankle became a silent enemy. Sources from ESPN revealed that Luka frequently had to get pain injections and wrap his ankle tightly before each game, but he rarely missed a game, even though the pain sometimes made him limp after timeouts. He kept quiet, didn't complain, and continued to lead the Mavericks with unparalleled form. The 2022 playoffs were the peak of his endurance. In a game against the Phoenix Suns, Luka played through the pain, his face expressionless, but his ankle was swollen like a ball. No one knew, not his teammates, not his coaches, not even the media, that he was fighting excruciating pain. Luka dribbled, shot three-pointers, and scored 35 points. But every step was a time he gritted his teeth. By the end of the game, his ankle was almost unbearable, and the injury was so severe that it nearly made him miss the entire following season. Doctors were amazed to discover he had been playing with a small fracture, something any other player would refuse to play with. Luka didn't stop. He returned in the 2022-23 season with explosive form, averaging 32 points per game, as if laughing in the face of those who thought he would collapse. From 2019 to now, his ankle has remained a concern, but Luka has made it a part of his career. He doesn't rest, doesn't complain, and continues to lead the team, despite the lingering pain every night. From limping steps to clutch shots, Luka Dončić isn't just playing basketball. He's rewriting the definition of resilience, astonishing the NBA with how he turns injuries into motivation to shine. So, we've just explored the ultimate mysteries of Luka Dončić, from the brilliant basketball court to the unexpected hidden corners. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this video. It's great to have viewers like you who delve into the story of this superstar. If you think Luka is not just a player, but an incredible phenomenon, please leave a like to support us. Share this video with your friends so they can be amazed by what they've just seen, and don't forget to subscribe to not miss the next hot content. Luka Dončić has many more secrets, and we will continue to bring them to you. Let's make this journey together.